All right, man. Nice and quick there. Okay, it's not a lot of spinning wheels. Let's get these other two groups in and let's get off the ground for Thursday's episode. I think it's Thursday, right? Today's Thursday?
I think so, because it feels like
God.
we've gone 4 days in a row, so it must be close.
Yeah, God. I went into work 2 days this weekend, so my days are all mixed up because I'm trying to get ahead before going home for Christmas.
Yeah,
So
if it weren't for the football calendar, I wouldn't be able to keep track. Thursday night football's tonight. We're good.
I think it's the Cowboys versus the Saints. A little bit of a. I mean, at least it's not. It's good for a Thursday night game, right? Typically,
Yeah,
Thursday has
it's
terrible
two
games.
teams that are in dire need of a win.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Who do you got?
so this could be the final nail in a coffin. Well, I mean, the Cowboys are still in decent shape. I think they're 7-4, but
Yeah,
I think I think the Saints have lost every game since Winston went out. They won the game he went out, but then I think they've lost every one since.
yeah. Trevor Siemian, not a very good quarterback. And now they're talking about putting in Taysom Hill, so we'll see what happens there. But good morning, everybody. It is, like I said, Thursday morning, December 2nd. Let me check the calendar. Yep, December 2nd, and it is 7:32 a.m., which means it's time for another episode of Broncos for Breakfast. I am your host, Nicholas Kendell, joined by, as always, good friend, co-host Scott Kennedy. Scott, how you doing today? Good Thursday. Have a good Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday was good. Chelsea got the win. There was something you don't see that often. Unfortunately, you see it a little bit more than you think. And in England, in those games, if there's a problem in the stands, they'll stop the game. So a guy went into cardiac arrest
Hmm.
just off the side. He had some lower seats, and the players are waving people over. And they stop the game, and I haven't heard, but I think he's okay. I hope he is. But that's kind of a scary moment. But I'm thinking, if you're gonna have a problem like that, a public venue like that close to the pitch is probably a pretty good spot to do it, because
Yeah.
they've got emergency personnel and equipment everywhere in case there's a major problem on the field. Major problem. That was a little scary, but otherwise a good Wednesday.
Yeah, good Wednesday. Leon is making it a good Thursday for us off the bat. Leon Archuleta with $4.99 super. Thank you so much, Leon. Not sure what your logo is there. Maybe it's your own little thing there with your picture, but looks interesting. Look, maybe like a mask, like eye mask. Um, Leon says, hopefully this Sunday, talking about if the Broncos are going to win, but if Bridgewater throws for 129 yards again, I don't like our chances. Thoughts? To me, I think this is actually a weird stat where if Bridgewater throws for 129 yards again, I think the Broncos maybe did pretty well, because that means they're getting their yards on the ground and they were probably keeping it close. If you see Bridgewater throw for like 400 yards, that means the Broncos defense probably gave up like 50 points and they couldn't run
Yeah.
the ball.
So it's all relative,
Yeah.
if obviously I would agree the odds are with you on your side of this thing, Leon. Appreciate the super chat. That if you only have 129 yards, you're probably not going to be successful. But maybe we got 2 pick sixes and they had the ball the whole time.
I mean,
Maybe we ran for 300 yards. So there are extenuating circumstances. But yeah, I think everybody would like to see a little bit more production in the passing game. But I always caution y'all from listening to press conferences too closely. But Fangio is not all that nuanced. He kind of says what's on his mind. I think you can get a pretty good idea. And he flat out came and said, I think we only had about 300 yards of offense, which on the surface is fairly mediocre. It's fairly pedestrian, but they only had 2.5 possessions in the second half.
yeah.
So, the way the ball, it was, as one of favorites, Nick's stats is the efficiency of those possessions. And one, it was a 3-and-out. Okay, bad. One was a nice long touchdown drive. Good. One, finished the game. Good. Yeah. So it's all relative. I think you will have more possessions against the Kansas City offense. Playing Kansas City, though, the way they play the game, though.
I also think Kansas City, having an extra week to prepare for this game, has seen that, hey, if Denver runs the ball, they're pretty darn effective. So maybe we should stack the box, play more single high, be aggressive with blitz looks that are effectively work as run blitzes, and make Teddy Bridgewater beat us. And we saw that early in the season. I thought really actually early in the season, the first 3 weeks, every single one of those teams did a pretty big job of stacking the box and pushing the Broncos to pass the ball, and Teddy Bridgewater did so efficiently. So again, the biggest thing for me here is, and I've kind of had a few revelations the last few days where the Broncos, I really love cross sports analogies. The Broncos want to park the bus. They Broncos are built to park the bus. And what do I mean by that? If any of you soccer people out there, you probably know what I mean. After you score, you pack the box and pack the box
Basically,
for
you can't score on a goal with a bus parked in front of it because the bus
yes.
is blocking the whole goal. So park the
Yes.
bus.
Exactly. So you park the bus, and that's what the Broncos want to do. We saw it this week against the Chargers. The Broncos got a 14-0 lead, and they essentially went into we're gonna run the ball, mash it. You're good luck. You know it's coming. Stop us. And we're gonna limit the game and just take the air out of the ball. They parked the bus, and it's worked. They did the same thing against the Cowboys as well. I mean, limit possessions. Make sure that every single possession the opponent has, if they're not scoring 7, they're in trouble. And it's worked. So thank you so much for the Super Leon. We also got Ethan, the DWI guys, coming at $5 saying Chelsea fan in stable condition. Thumbs up.
No, so it was Chelsea Watford, and I wasn't sure
Oh,
if it was a Watford fan or a Chelsea fan where he went down. It doesn't matter. The important
yeah.
part here is in stable condition. So that's good news. That was scary. Like I said, if I could tell just based on when the two players were talking to each other, one captain to the other, and you start seeing them doing this chest compressions like someone in a cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he's doing well. Ethan, email me your jersey size and what jersey you want because you won the YouTube drawing. So
Yeah.
I know you've got my email address, skinny@gmail. Just send me that, and then we'll make sure that it gets to you. Chad was worried about sending it overseas, but you've got your Minnesota address too. So congratulations on winning that. Email me what jersey you want and what size you want, and the boys from the Huddle Up Pod will take care of that.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah, absolutely. Guys, we are it's not going for me. There we go. Guys, obviously Huddle Up Podcast. This is Broncos for Breakfast.
On it.
Okay, there we go. You guys can follow us at Twitter at Huddle Up Podcast and at Mile High Huddle. You can also follow Scott and myself. Scott is at Scout Kennedy, and I am at Nick Kendell MHH. Make sure you guys are going over to huddleuppod.com to check out the gear there at the holidays right around the season. You want to freshen up your wardrobe, your lid game. Check out huddleuppod.com. Make sure if you are on Facebook, you are joining our communities there, liking the communities there, contributing on the communities there at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle and facebook.com/Mile High Huddle pod. For you YouTube folks out there, if you're just joining us by happenstance or you're over on Facebook, but you have a YouTube, make sure you head on over to YouTube. It's probably the number one thing you can do to support this show by subscribing, liking, and sharing. That way, when we go live, we get those numbers up and share it to your Broncos social media pages, Reddit, whatever. Let's get it out there. I know that a lot of people aren't in a position to financially contribute to the show. That's okay. I get it. So it's totally going to be fine. So, but liking, subscribing, and sharing is free, and it really helps us. Also, make sure you go to Scott's channel and do that as well at youtube.com/Scott Kennedy. Also, everyone is trying to cash in on the next best crypto. But if you wanted a guaranteed way to double your money, all you need to do is use promo code MHH at MyBookie. It's simple. Sign up at MyBookie with promo code MHH, and your first deposit is immediately doubled, all the way up to $1,000. How's that for a quick turnaround on your investment? With the NFL playoff race heating up for, every team in the league, it seems like, and college bowl season right around the corner, double your firepower at MyBookie to get action on the most important games for the rest of this football season.
Absolutely. Build your own props, create multi-game parlays, and take part in a host of MyBookie cash prize contests. This is the best time of year to both watch and bet on sports because you know who the winners are by now. Don't miss out. Double your first deposit by using promo code MHH. It's pretty easy to figure out. Mile High Huddle, MHH is your promo code. And keep your eyes peeled for more exclusive holiday promotions coming soon at mybookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag.
Well, there you go. You guys heard him. Let's say hello to some people in the chat. Clee's in the house saying hard to win the Super Bowl by losing to the Chiefs on Sunday. Yeah, but let's try to get to the playoffs first. Once you get in the playoffs, let's let the breaks break. But playoffs first. EJ, good morning, Nick and Scott in Broncos country. Hashtag beat KC. Ethan also coming in. Morning, guys, and Broncos country. So morning to you, Ethan. JJ Johnson saying good morning, Broncos country. Let's beat the Chiefs this week. That would be amazing. Howler Bro Surf coming in. Morning all. Can't wait to hear you all get into it, but I definitely think this is a must win. Definitely a must show something and a must be competitive. Chiefs are going to get theirs. We'll get into that in here in a second. CC's in the house. Always love CC. CC always brings a pretty good insight, so I appreciate you, CC. Morning, Broncos country. Dave Glassman, always appreciate you too with the hearts there. Super helpful, Dave, and also US
and the
Dave.
Stars with the hearts, Dave. So certainly appreciate that too.
Amen. I haven't gotten to the Facebook one. There we go. There's the stars one. Let's hashtag beat the Chiefs with double stars there. Quadruple stars. We love that. Albert coming in. Good morning. Good morning to you, Albert. It's great to see. Howler Surf Bros saying, if it's a 27-30 loss, I'll take that as a moral victory. Nah, screw it. Let's beat that ass like a Kansas City player who's known for not being the best. Clee also saying Lions Bears game was awesome. No, you take that out somewhere else. Sebastian saying, I just found out yesterday that on Sunday the Broncos versus Chiefs game is more nervous than happy. I can't wait. So, yeah, it's gonna be a tough one. Victor Rios, good morning. Good morning to you. Tommy Simmers is in the house too. Travis Scott, you listening to this? It must be a rap reference. I'm not sure what's going on. Jamal Killens, good guys.
Sometimes it's what we were talking about at the time. So at the time, I think when that came through, we were talking about Bridgewater passing and taking the air out of the ball, et cetera, et cetera. So something to think about.
Jamal Killens in the house. Good to see you. We also got Lane Meyer. Don't recognize this name, Lane.
Welcome Lane.
In. Broncos Country Rules, Denver Broncos for life. Awesome to see. We also got Miguel in the house. Good morning, fellas. We have to score that opening possession. God, it's so important for the Broncos to score on the opening possession. That's probably one of the most important things, and they haven't done it. Or just get a lead. They don't have to score a touchdown on the opening possession. It'd be great, but don't get behind. Falling Soft, good morning, Broncos Country. Good to be here. And Andrew Lampy, probably with stars, because he's always super helpful.
Yep. Here, let me hit these real quick. So,
yeah.
Lawrence came in. He has a big cup of coffee for Nick. That's a full cup. That was a Stars donation. You can basically get whatever you wanted to at Starbucks, unless you're getting $8 coffees, which you might in Seattle. So
I make my own. We have a really nice, probably one of the best wedding registry gifts.
But that keeps me in lots of coffee.
Thank you so much.
And he also bought me a cup of coffee. So thank you very much. It doesn't show up here, but on the Facebook side, I can see the big cup of coffee because Andrew did the same thing as well. So good morning, fellas. Hope everyone has a good day. So between when I'm looking over at my Facebook feed from y'all, I see 3 big cups of coffee with 3 giant Stars donations to our show. Yeah. Cheers to all of y'all. Appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yvonne is also coming in. Just a quick hi. Can't watch live. We'll see you after the fact. Good morning. Have a great life.
Thanks for the stars, Yvonne.
Yeah, thank you so much for the stars. And Ethan coming in too. I'm feeling good about this game this week. I think it will be competitive. Scott, I'll send you an email for jersey. Thanks, fellas. Thank you, Yvonne. We got a Dogs fan in the house too. Yeah, Ethan. What did I say?
You said Yvonne the second time. We're still thanking Yvonne, but that one was Ethan.
Thank you, Ethan. Good. We got a Dogs fan in the house. Dom Harmio coming in. Good morning, fellas. How are you guys doing this morning? Doing pretty good. It's KC week, boys. We play for first and primetime game. Bulldogs play Saturday evening for the SEC championship game. Go Dogs, go Broncos. See, you're kind of in the opposite spot with me with that college game because you guys should win. You have a bigger game, obviously, with Georgia versus Alabama, but I am very nervous for my Iowa Hawkeyes this week. But we'll see. Raymond Glass also with the €3 coming in with the super sticker. So thank you so much. My mother's in the house. Thank you. Good morning. Can't wait to see you. I'm excited to see you too, Mom. Drink a little bit of bourbon. It'll be a good time. So let's get into it. This Broncos game, I see a lot of people putting a lot of pressure on this Broncos game. If the Broncos win this game, they are for real. If they come out of this game, I'm going to be a believer for the rest of the season. This is a make or break game for Teddy Bridgewater, blah, 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 blah. And I'm here to be Lee Corso. Not so fast, my friends. I don't want to pump the brakes too much, but this is an extremely formidable Kansas City team. Obviously, they started off the year a little bit slow, but recently, especially their defense, has been playing phenomenal football. They're one of the best defenses in the league for the last 6 weeks, the second half of games. And Patrick Mahomes, while he's not putting up incredible efficiency numbers like he has historically, he's playing like a top 5 quarterback again in the NFL. Also, some other stats that is scary is that Denver historically is, I think, 19-3 at Arrowhead in December. And Andy Reid, I think, is also 19-3 coming off the bye week. And he is 7-0 coming off the bye since Patrick Mahomes and him have teamed up in Kansas City. So I know that a lot of people want the Broncos to win this game, but I really, really want people to have the foresight and the perspective to understand that if Denver goes in there and doesn't look the best versus the Chiefs on primetime in Arrowhead, you still have 5 more games to go, and going to the playoffs is still in your hands. So I know that's really much a wet blanket with everybody and with all the hype coming up for this upcoming game. But this is not a make or break game for the season. If the Broncos win, I would say it makes the season, but if you lose, it doesn't break it.
Yeah, I think the excitement is if you win this game, now the roof can come off. Now we're pumped. We're legit. We're for real. But it's a 10-point game. I mean, the Chiefs are favored by double digits for a reason.
10.
I don't think there's any as long as you go out and play well, a loss isn't necessarily a negative to this team. I mean, you know what I mean by that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not expected to win. It's a double-digit Kansas City favorite game here.
And that's in the NFL. You don't see that.
No, it doesn't happen very often. The Broncos don't really have anything to lose here, assuming everybody can stay healthy for a change and assuming you put forth a good effort, which both of those aren't very good assumptions this season.
Yeah.
So if you go out and you play hard, keep the game close and lose, okay. It's okay. You're 6-6, 5 games left, and it shortens your window on that. But I'm not expecting a Denver Broncos win. Nobody's really expecting Denver Broncos to win this game. And when you've got nothing to lose, you can play free and you can have some fun. It's trust me, being the underdog with lower expectations can be a lot of fun, because when you set your expectations this low, you're kind of miserable all the time. But anything better than that is good.
Yeah.
Trust me, I've been watching underdog teams my whole life.
Yeah, and for me, I think a lot of people, the way you're talking about it there makes me think that the pressure would be on Kansas City to perform.
The pressure's 100% on Kansas City. They're a 10-point favorite. They're expected to put a chokehold on this division. People are talking about the Super Bowls, and Denver's going into Kansas City. They never win there. We don't expect anything out of Denver. All right, well, we can play free and loose and go in there and have a game of our lives.
And I think,
so what? We'll win the next one and eke into the playoffs, make the playoffs, and then let's get started. So this can be a turning point positively, but for the negative, does it fall off the wheel? No, you've hit the low point of the season. The low point of the season was the Philadelphia Eagles game. That was the low point.
The Raiders game.
Back from that, it's all really gravy from here to a certain extent. As long as you play at a level you're capable of playing, don't lose the Lions. Win a couple more of these games, you still have a chance to make the playoffs, which is a fair cry better than where you were last year, especially with all the injuries you've had.
Yeah, totally. I actually think the pressure on these two teams from a national perspective, you're correct there, but internally, I think the Broncos are going to have a little bit more pressure on themselves than Kansas City. You win this game, you are right back there in the AFC West. If you lose, you're down 2 in the AFC West, and you lose another AFC game, a divisional game, which makes the tiebreakers that much harder. The Broncos are coming off of probably one of their best victories in the last few seasons, one of the better victories in the Vic Fangio era, considering the circumstances surrounding the game and the implications of that. And the Broncos haven't beaten the Kansas City Chiefs since week 2, 2015. So there's going to be a lot of pressure, I think, on the Broncos to come out and win this game. Now, obviously, it's a tall task, but I think Kansas City is going to come out and be like, we are who we are. We know who we are. We're going to go out. We've had 2 weeks to prepare. We're steady Eddie with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. So I think that I don't think Kansas City themselves is going to feel the pressure like Denver is, which is maybe unfair given the 10-point spread.
My point on this is just this season isn't won or lost Sunday night.
No,
by any stretch of the imagination. There's different highs and lows. I think you've already hit the low point of the season after the Philadelphia Eagles game. You win this one, now you're on a high. Now the trajectory is still up. It's a bump if you lose this game. It's not a cliff.
Yeah.
So I think if you're looking at that trajectory line, you saw it go down pretty good. You saw it come back up after the Philadelphia game. This would be a dip, not a dive. Yeah. Dip and dive. Now we're talking dodgeball. Duck, dip, dive, dodge. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Naj coming in
Raj.
with the $20 super. Naj, appreciate you for sure. He says, "Hey brothers, Fangio has traditionally done well defending the Chiefs. Do you think he'll switch anything up and try and surprise Reid, or you think he'll play similar game plans as in his past?" I don't know that you surprise Andy Reid.
Especially
the guys, he's an OG. He's an old guy who's seen it all. And they do some different things as well. Travis Kelce running a Wildcat quarterback on the goal line. That was new to me to get their first touchdown. So I don't think you're going to surprise him. No. Do you think they'll change some things up? Maybe not, Nick.
I think that the Vic Fangio deserves a lot of credit around the league, and some coaches should be saying thank you to him for some victories against Kansas City, because I think he has been instrumental in laying down a schematic blueprint for slowing down the Chiefs. And while it's obviously easier said than done, and you have to play complementary football with your offense putting pressure on the Chiefs, it's the too high safety shell that Patrick Mahomes has struggled against. If you are calling cover 3 or cover 1 or any sort of combination of that with the single high safety back there, this offense with Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and Patrick Mahomes will beat the absolute crap out of you. I know, and I hate coaches who, well, this is our scheme, especially defensive coaches. You're supposed to be a problem solver on the defensive side of the ball. Coaches are like, this is our scheme, and we're going to do this no matter what. Go to the Sunday night game.
They're real easy to plan against.
Oh my God, yes. Go to the Sunday night game this year where it was the Chiefs going to Las Vegas versus the Raiders, and Travis Kelce has like 3,000 yards, and Patrick Mahomes looks great, and it's like, oh my God, the Chiefs are back. What are we thinking? They're so great. Dennis Allen says, or excuse me, not Dennis Allen. Gus Bradley's like, we're gonna play cover 3 because that's who we are. And guess what? The Chiefs kill single high safety. You cannot do it against them. And the other thing about that is playing single high against the Chiefs. Do you have any respect for Clyde Edwards-Helaire in their run game? Because I sure as hell don't. So why am I going to use that safety as an extra body in the box to get run fits down there? Hell no. Run the ball, please. You are so less efficient running the football. Every time that they hand the ball off to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, instead of throwing the ball at all, I'm about it. So it's too high safety. Make them march the ball down the field. Make Patrick Mahomes make good decisions consecutively and execute. And I think you got a chance there. Again, you have to play complementary football. Your offense can't be completely inept out there. But I think that as far as Fangio pulling something out of his sleeve, maybe you'll see a bit more man on the boundary with how good Darby and Surtain have been as of late. They're both playing football at extremely high levels, and that can give you a little bit more man looks versus pure matchup quarters, matchup zone. But as far as the too deep, I think that's the key. You got to be able to stick into that too deep and make Patrick Mahomes march down the field on long, sustaining drives.
Well, and to that point, Nick, Kansas City's got the second rated offense by yard behind the Dallas Cowboys, but they are 9th in scoring. So they're getting their yards, but not necessarily punching it in. And maybe part of that, watch the way they use Tyreek Hill. They use Tyreek Hill a lot horizontally.
Yeah.
Jet sweeps, short crossing patterns, which then brings in safeties, has linebackers stay put a little bit, which opens up the running game some. But what it also does is it opens up those deeper crossing patterns. So you'll see Mahomes, Tyreek Hill go, on an out route, a short out, and Mahomes bypass him because he's everybody's looking at Tyreek Hill and drawing them in. Yeah. Dallas pitched a shutout for 44 minutes. So the last points that the Kansas City Chiefs had, there was 14 minutes left in the second quarter. It looked like, in some of those things, some of the mistakes Dallas had were self-inflicted. A couple of them. I took a couple of notes I was looking at. It says, Kelce on the read option for the touchdown, sweeps to Hill, and the mistakes by Dallas, turnover on the second drive. No one was even set when the ball was snapped. And it said they're running Tyreek Hill underneath everything, which opens up the next level for drafts. Obviously, that's not what I wanted. And crossing route, drags and crossing routes. And then they were shut out. And Dallas isn't great on defense. So this team can be had. I don't like making picks when I'm emotionally involved, and I am emotionally involved with this group and this community, and I watch this team a lot, but 10 seems like a lot. 10 points seems like a lot right now.
Yeah, it does seem like a lot, especially in the NFL. And we got some people we want to say hello to. Michael Ronquillo, good morning. Nick and Scott and Broncos for breakfast. Always good to see you, Michael. Chris Thomas, I don't recognize this name, but the wheels fell off in the offseason when we didn't get Aaron Rodgers and retained Fangio. I definitely think they thought they were going to get Rodgers or have a good chance in it, and it fell apart. But, you are still in a solid position. You didn't completely, I wouldn't say the wheels fell off completely because you are steady Teddy this season, which is
6-5. You got a winning record.
Yeah, exactly. Also, there's another
you want to see the wheels falling off. Go look at Detroit. Go look at the New York Jets. Yeah. That's what the wheels falling off is. Let me hit this one from Lawrence here real quick. He says, I think this is a down year for the Chiefs, and they have some holes, and a lot of them we could capitalize on, but it depends on the penalties and who wants more come Sunday. To keep the good going, I'm going to stick with my losing prediction, 21-17 Chiefs. Woo! He's going way under on the 30. Yeah. I think the over-under is in the 50s. I think there's going to be more points than that. I think the Broncos are going to have to start scratching the surface of 30 if they're going to win this game. Lawrence, appreciate the stars. Nick, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. I think the Broncos will cover. But right now, at least, I'm probably going to save my prediction for Saturday, since that's the last time you guys see or the article that comes out. I will probably pick the Kansas City Chiefs to win, but this is a tough one for sure. I appreciate that he's picking a close one here, and the Chiefs do have some holes, but they also are a team. This reminds me of the Kansas City team that was 2 years ago, where they were good out of the gate, but then the defense really came together. Their Super Bowl year, I guess, is what it was. Their defense really came together down the stretch, and it wasn't just the Patrick Mahomes show. It was Patrick Mahomes with a top 15 defense. And I think in the NFL, you need to be amazing on one side of the ball and good on the other. And Kansas City right now, I would say they're good on both sides of the ball. Their offense needs to probably take another step up, and that would be Patrick Mahomes showing that he can beat those two high safety shells more consistently, which he has not shown yet. But it should be a good game. And again, you got to take advantage of your opportunities. The Broncos can come out there and run the ball efficiently, put Patrick Mahomes behind the chains consistently. Let's say it's 3rd and 8. I don't think he is patient enough to live possession by possession. I think he's going to be a little bit greedy. And when he gets greedy, good things can happen. He's shown that he can do that. And this Broncos offense or defense, maybe they're starting to get a little bit of juju as far as taking the ball away. Now, the big point about the defense is the Broncos win this game, or the chance to win this game depends on what defense shows up. Who the hell takes the field for the Broncos defense this week? Because when it's the oh man, it's the old rhyme of the little girl with a curl on her forehead, right? It's when she was good, she was really, really good, and when she was bad, she was horrid. That's been the Broncos defense this year. They are one of the most high variance defenses in football.
See, I listen to different music than you. The lyric I had was when she was good, she was good. When she was bad, she was great. Those were
they were taken from an old school rhyme for that one.
I'm thinking from some heavy metal song I heard from the 80s or somewhere.
For sure. No, they were definitely taking it from whatever that old one is. My sister was a little bit of a menace as a child, and she had very curly hair. So they quoted that one quite often. When she was good, she was very, very good. And when she was bad, she was horrid. Love you, Alyssa. But that's about Broncos defense this year. They are 28th in the NFL in variance for DVOA, which means that they fluctuate extremely week to week. And you see that. I mean, the game against the Cowboys, the game against the Chargers, the game against the Jets, they look like the 2015 defense. They look incredible. And then you see the game against the Raiders. They gave up more 20-plus yard plays than any team has since like 1989. The game against the Eagles, they were giving up like 3-point-something points per possession, where no team in the NFL is giving up more than like 2.99. Just terrible in that Eagles first half. So if the defense shows up and they're that top high-end variance, or they even just get more consistent and kind of settle a little bit more in the middle, this team, I think they'll have a chance. But you need to have the good version of the defense show up, and they've just fluctuated wildly. So I don't know who's going to take the field. Don't know.
So I see a pattern here. We talked about this a little bit with the Broncos, and when have the Broncos struggled? What teams have the Broncos struggled against?
Teams that can whip them in the trenches by either running the ball effectively, making the Broncos have 3rd and shorts where they're not as good in coverage, or making the Broncos have 3rd and longs on offense where it's pure drop back passing.
So the teams that have bullied them in the trenches.
Yep.
Pretty much for the most part. And there's that one dot that on my internet that just decides to show up about 10 o'clock a.m. every time. So if you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, when they've given up the most points, Browns, Ravens, Eagles. You noticing a pattern here?
Yeah.
Titans.
With
Bills. All teams that want to be physical and want to run the ball. Mm-hmm. That's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. What can Denver do effectively? What does Denver want to do effectively?
They want to run the ball. They want to run between the guards and the honestly, between the guards is a big one here, but use both your running backs and take calculated deep shots with your wide receivers. And I'm looking at the Chiefs right now. They're DVOA against the rush. They are 28th in the NFL. So they're not obviously the Chargers, who are 32nd, but they are bottom 5 in the NFL in rush defense. So again, if the Broncos can get a lead and the defense can give them a chance early on, and it maybe not even a lead, but just not down by like 2 possessions halfway through the second quarter, the Broncos can take the air out of the ball and really make this one turn into a rock fight. And I'm sorry, I know that Kansas City Chiefs definitely have the the best singular trench player that's taken the field this week in Chris Jones. But I think as a collective whole, they do not have the dogs in the trenches. So if it's a rock fight, classic, Mike D'Antonio going up against Penn State when they were a little bit more frittles on the edge. And it's like, listen, you're not going to want to punch with us for 60 minutes. I'm betting on you for that one. You're eventually going to wilt. And I think if the Broncos can do that, play box football, Big Ten football, essentially, they got a chance. Because I don't think this Chiefs team is going to want that smoke.
I agree with you. Like I said, I feel like Denver's starting to match up really well with this team, especially the defense against the offense. I like the offensive line for the Kansas City Chiefs. I do. Andrew Wiley was a backup. I looked at watching him work against the Dallas Cowboys, minus getting beat once by Micah Parsons for a sack and a fumble. Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah.
Andrew Wiley was really good at right tackle. Unrestricted free agent, $920,000 a year. Put a check mark next to his name as someone we want to watch in the offseason. Trey Smith, right guard, was moving some guys. Again, I don't know what his PFF grade is. My eyeballs told me that they were cleaning out the left side of that Dallas defense on running plays. So be stout there. And then one of the things that Kansas City does really well on defense is they limit the yards after the catch. So they were giving up some catches, but there wasn't anything else after that. So the way you can start softening that defense up, again, is hitting them in the gut. I want 45 touches from Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. 45 touches in this game. As you said, if Teddy's throwing over 30 times, knocking on the door 35, 40, that's bad. I like my favorite Teddy game is 17 to 25, 220, 230 yards, touchdown, maybe 2, 45 touches for the running backs. That's where you're going to be your best.
Yeah, and this comment made me laugh from X23 saying, wouldn't surprise me if the Broncos beat the Chiefs but then lose to the Lions. Would be fitting for the 2021 Broncos. Heck, get rid of the Broncos on there. It would be fitting for 2021 football. This NFL season has been absolutely crazy as far as teams that should win and should lose playing like they should. The only teams I can think of that have been consistently good that haven't really dropped games they shouldn't have been the Packers, besides week 1 where they got absolutely housed by the Saints in Green Bay, and the Patriots. Those are the only teams that I trust consistency right now. All the other teams, up and down. Up and down. I think that's something also to be said about Teddy Bridgewater as well. Not to steer the conversation too much one direction, but like people are like, how is Teddy Bridgewater top 12 in all these stats? Blah, blah, blah. It's because across the league, a lot of these quarterbacks right now have massive fluctuation games, and that's going to lead them to lower scores. Russell Wilson, massive fluctuation games. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, all these guys. You've seen some real stinkers from some of these quarterbacks as well. And I think that's true for almost every single quarterback right now besides Aaron Rodgers. So I would not get too upset. And I think that people don't have a perspective. They're watching the Broncos like this, not the NFL like this. If you're looking like this, you're like, oh man, Josh Allen puts up 3 points versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Maybe Teddy Bridgewater having one bad game isn't means he's a terrible quarterback, because everybody has some bad games besides Aaron Rodgers.
What we 11, 6-5? That's the record, right?
Yep.
Teddy Bridgewater's only turned the ball over in 3 games.
Yep.
He had 5 interceptions in a 3-game span, 3 games right in a row. Not coincidentally, pretty sure you lost all those games. Mm-hmm. Interception, 3 interceptions, interception, 5 right there.
Yep.
Taking care of the ball after that. So 8 games without a turnover of 11. Yep. That's why they wanted Teddy Bridgewater. That's why Teddy Bridgewater's there. And he's doing his job well.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Ethan coming in. Thank you so much, Ethan. Always such a big supporter here. Congrats on the jersey. Keys to winning: score a touchdown on the opening drive, stop Kansas City in the opening drive, let the defense fall back into 2 deep, and get home with the front 4. No Gordon, please. See, Melvin Gordon, he's criminally underrated. I appreciate this, Ethan, but you're going to need both your backs in this game to be great. This year, Javonte Williams has been amazing once he gets to the second level, but that's the key, getting to the second level. He's I think he is the highest stuffed rate running back in the entire NFL this season.
That may have changed.
That may have
changed some. I think he's gotten better at that, and I think the offensive line has gotten better at that, especially when you're running with Miners and Muti. I'm okay. I'll say it. I'll say it again. I was typing in the chat last night. Everybody wants to say, let's write off Melvin Gordon. Think about this, guys. This is a 17-game season for a rookie.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine with a 50-50 split. You got 7, and as it starts to, I'm almost positive. I will be shocked if you don't start seeing, I'm on record saying this because this is recorded, you don't start seeing that split starting to widen just a little bit, where we're at 60-40 by the end of the season. It is a 17-game season. This is a long season for a rookie. You got an $8 million a year guy who is a good running back who's out of contract. Use him. Burn him up. Let your rookie find his sea legs. Make sure he's comfortable with everything you want to do, and then use him for the stretch run. More importantly, with Javonte Williams, isn't that Melvin Gordon isn't getting carries. It's when is Javonte Williams getting his.
Yeah.
So I'd still like to see about a 60-40 split, and I want to make sure that Javonte Williams is getting the ball in the crucial moments. That's what matters more to me than saying, okay, I want Javonte Williams to carry the ball 30 times and Melvin Gordon 5. No, I'll take a 20 and 15. I'm perfectly fine with that, as long as those 20 are coming when it matters most for Javonte Williams. And I think we'll see more of him. We said this in the summer. Who's going to be the opener and who's going to be the closer? It might be a 50-50 split, but you see a guy almost more exclusively in the second half when the game's on the line.
Yeah.
That's where I think we're going to see the important carries are going to lean towards Javonte Williams. At the end of the day, the split's going to be about 50-50. It should open up a little bit in Javonte Williams' favor. I think he's proven that. But I'm okay with a rookie splitting carries with Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, no, I agree with you here, and that's a great point as well. Javonte Williams was a split back running back in North Carolina as well. So you want him to come into a 17-game season, all of a sudden being where everything's on him?
Get 300 carries?
Yeah, I know he's a rookie contract and he's young, and you want to use those running backs up during the rookie contract, but you also want them to be effective. And you talk about Javonte Williams being more of the closer and Gordon the opener, more as the entire game. I want to see that on first, second, and third down. I want Gordon to be my first down back, because when the Broncos get killed this season, it's when they don't get yards on first down. If they are 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 11, good luck. You might as well be getting the puncher's leg ready. So that's unfortunately. Although in this last game, Teddy Bridgewater, I think they were 8 for 11 on third downs, and Bridgewater had some really good.
Did you look it up for
throws.
me after I said I guarantee you that that average on third down was like 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3 instead of 3rd and 9, which is what it's been all season?
Yep, it was. And that's partially because they ran the ball so effectively against the terrible Chargers defense.
It's not rocket science, despite what these $1 million coaches. I tell my kids this all the time as they're growing up. It was like there was an article I read. It said, "What is the biggest fears of the Fortune 500 CEOs?" Their biggest fears, they would find out that there's nothing special about them. They can't throw 95 miles an hour. They can't dunk a basketball. There's nothing just special about them. I think football coaches feel that way sometimes too. They have to try and prove that they're smarter than they think they are. We have to prove that we're special. Man, do the obvious. It's okay. Yeah. It's okay to do the obvious. This one I saw from Trevor. Appreciate you asking us a question. So Nick and Scott, I'm going to the Cincinnati game and want to get a jersey with staying power. I have a Simmons jersey. Need ideas for another. Thank you. 1, I like the retro jerseys. 2, if you go with a retro name, it stays forever. Go look up and find out your favorite player in that Ring of Fame, or the or however you call it in Denver. Grab a Mecklenburg, grab an Atwater, grab Elway's too mainstream for me. Grab a Rod Smith, something like that. That's where I would go for something like that. Then it's good forever. I got Jesse Tuggle hanging up in my closet. I'd wear a Jesse Tuggle jersey for if he went to the Saints. That's how much I like Jesse Tuggle. So you can I'd go retro on that personally.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you there. Mostly. I also think, talk about staying power, it's got to be Patrick Surtain. I mean, he's playing like one of the top 5 cornerbacks in the AFC. Surtain, a cornerback, wearing that number 2 jersey is just, you've heard me say it on here, and you probably roll your eyes. Maybe this is a generational gap, but like Patrick Surtain's aesthetic and his like drip with like all the gear that he has on, he looks so good. He looks like a player that I would create to recruit.
We call it the look test in scouting. Yes. So does he pass the look test? And it's more important in football than anything else, because football is a bigger, faster, stronger game.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks it. He looks the part.
Yeah, he does. And even amongst NFL players, he's like, that guy's different. He moves different. He's bigger than everybody else for how he moves. So that Patrick Surtain number 2
glides.
He does glide. And also, I think it's important for me to say that because I was on the quarterback train for that pick at 9. But Patrick Surtain is a hell of a player. And we should appreciate that and be happy that the Broncos got such an incredibly good player at one of the most important positions in football. Tommy,
I'm reading these. I have a lot of thoughts about Calvin Ridley. I'm just not sure that this is the right format for it.
Yeah.
Just to get on this, will he play this year? I don't think so. I think he's done this year. He's got a fully guaranteed contract for next year that bumps his salary up about 6x. So he goes from about 1.8 to 11.1 next year. Is he still, is he going to be feeling better in order to collect a 6x raise? My thoughts on this is, the NFL, if they want to support these guys, they need to provide some relief to the teams. And then I'll get off of this and we can talk about it another time, off season, whatever. They need to find a way to support these teams. One, if you feel like you're letting your teammates down by leaving, you're more likely to stick around when you might need help. So I might go seek treatment sooner if I need it, if I know that I could be replaced. Right now, Calvin Ridley's number still counts against the Falcons. They can't replace him. It also might help you in recovery if you're not having 3/4 of the fans calling you a quitter who has quit on your team and you're all these negative things and all these toxic things because I can't replace him. Right now, Calvin Ridley is hurting the Atlanta Falcons. That's not good for his recovery, assuming that that's what he's there for. Yeah. I don't want to see an Everson Griffin situation. I don't want to see Everson Griffin waving around a 38 at night with his eyes this wide. And I don't want to gain a competitive advantage against the Minnesota Vikings because of Everson Griffin. That feels to me ghoulish. It feels to me wrong. I want the Minnesota Vikings to be able to replace Everson while they still pay him to go get his help. Those are my thoughts on that for now. I'd be happy to get into it more later. I've got a ton of thoughts on it, but I'm not sure this is quite the right time since we're in the middle of the season here.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and we're not dealing with all the facts, so I personally like to have as much data as I possibly can before I make a very strong opinion on something, and I don't think I'm ever going to get that with this Calvin Ridley situation. So I think the best advice here would be you hope that everything that's going on in his world right now gets figured out and is put in a positive direction, and he gets back on the field and then is healthy and happy with it for the rest of his life. Leroy Williams coming in saying, run the rock until their legs fall off, bubble screens to Judy and Sutton and Patrick, stretch the field with Judy when it's there. I actually was just looking at some data, and I think there's a pretty interesting dichotomy here. So we talk about the Broncos being so bad on third down, mainly because of how bad they are on first and second down. Where do you think the Broncos rank? So I have DVOA here in front of me, which if you guys don't know, DVOA is it's designated value over
average.
Average. Yep, that's the word. So they use weighted stats here against the performances the teams you've played, et cetera, to give you an overall score. The Broncos run pass splits on offense on first and second down. Where do you think their offense ranks as far as first down run?
It's low. It's got to be 30.
They are 28th in the NFL in a first down run. Where do you think they are on first down pass?
29.
Ninth in the NFL on first down pass. So, I mean, a lot of this is the data, but there is sometimes some.
So a lot of it is pass, run, pass instead of run, run, pass, because that's what it's been. It's run, 2nd and 10, run, 3rd and 9, pass, punt.
Yep.
It's third. It's not that the Denver Broncos are 11% or whatever it was on third down conversions, because it's that the Denver Broncos average on third down was 9. The league average on converting 3rd and 9s is about where the Denver Broncos are converting. That's normal. Yep. The trick is stay out of 3rd and 9 all game. How do you do that? I know. I know it's really simple, but how do you do that? You have more success on first and second down.
Yeah. But it's pretty interesting here to see just such a stark split for the Broncos on first down. 9th in the NFL on pass DVOA on first down, 28th in the NFL in rush DVOA on first down. And some of that also is circumstances of the Broncos offensive line. And I feel like some people will be like, oh, Nick, you're making excuses for Teddy Bridgewater that you were not making for Drew Lock. I think it's more so we know that Teddy Bridgewater is limited. So I've already made my bed with that. So what do we need to succeed with a limited quarterback like Teddy Bridgewater? You need your pass protectors to be good to give him a chance. And the Broncos, these last 3 games have been playing, or I guess technically 10 quarters have been playing at least 2 backup tackles, right? They've been playing backup tackles, and you should have them back this week. But when you're playing Cameron Fleming and Calvin Anderson, and your interior offensive line is also playing guys who are better as run protectors than pass protectors, you're going to probably lean away from the pass game, from the slower developing pass plays, because your chances of a really negative play happening go up exponentially, whether that be an interception off of pressure or a fumble or Teddy Bridgewater getting hurt. So I think that's one thing in this game, where having Bobby Massey and Garrett Bowles back on track right now for that should help the pass game a bit. And if the Chiefs want to stack the box, you should feel much more comfortable on the tackle positions with the pass game. I'm very much concerned about Chris Jones on the interior. I do not trust Netane Moody versus Chris Jones for the life of me. Chris Jones has extra, he's holding extra arms compared to what Netane Moody has as far as length. It's insane. Netane Moody's nub arms.
He's gonna need some help. He's gonna need some help.
Yes.
Saubert can come in, run a little extra. He's gonna help as a blocker. If he's going to the inside, then Cushenberry's got to team up with him. You're gonna need 2 guys on him. Who do you trust in pass protection? Who's your running back? Even if you chip and flare, to try and screen him, that's a little harder on an interior guy like that. But he's a problem for sure. And Chris, appreciate the stars. I still have your paper. I will get it to you. I promise. It's in good shape. I've got a Kobe Bryant SI cover magazine commemorative issue. So I'm more likely to fly out and hand it to you than I am to get to the post office. So we'll get it figured out. I'll have to get it sent with my wife. She's so much better about that stuff than me.
That's true for many things in this household. That's why I'm married, right? I know better. But yeah, no, we got DBAs in the house. Thank you for the stars, Chris. DBA morning, y'all. Hope everyone is well. Hope you're doing well as well. We also see somebody else that came in. Tony, I'm late. That's okay, Tony. We appreciate you. No, we'll give him a pass. As long as the Broncos don't show up late on Sunday, we'll allow Tony to be late today.
No, and I do read through our comments on YouTube. So after the fact, I go in and check the post stream. So if you have anything you want to follow up that I might not have gotten to while we're on here, it's a lot easier for me to type out a response after the fact. So I do check it out.
Yeah, hopefully there's not too much. Man, that Nick guy, he wears a lot of Iowa shit. Excuse me, pardon the language, but that kind of thing. Sometimes the post comments it's kind of like Twitter, where somebody can hide behind an icon and they're a little bit not very nice. But I feel like
it is a little bit also that if you go and show you're an actual human being, people are like, oh yeah, sorry. I had one of those. I was watching Auburn and Alabama, and Auburn blew a 28-3 lead. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? To Mississippi State. They're up 14-0 on South Carolina, and then they're up 10-0 on Alabama. The last 3 games, lost all 3 of them. I posted, I said, the Falcons think that Auburn's bad at holding a lead. And then this guy was like, you must be dumb or trolling. It was 10-0. I'm like, oh, they've lost 3 in a row, including 28-3. That feels awfully familiar to me. And then he backed off, so the YouTube comments can be okay once you kill them with niceness.
Kill them with kindness. That's why I'm one of my closing lines recently has been choose kindness, because I think that's sometimes important.
And if they're not worth responding to, you block them.
Yep. So, I hope you guys are doing well. And again, this is just more of a shout out of how amazing the chat has been, especially now that we are starting to veer away from the constant quarterback diatribe that had been plaguing us for a bit. So, Scott, this is probably our last chance here for a bit to talk Kansas City versus Denver before the real thing happens. Obviously, we've been doing that. Haven't talked as much your keys of the game. So obviously it's the general stuff, but what do you make of this game as far as the Broncos having a chance to win? What has to happen for that game? And nothing like, Patrick Mahomes gets hurt. What could realistically happen in this game that gives Denver a chance?
Can you replicate, at least to a certain extent? I don't expect to see the same thing I did against the Chargers, but can you replicate pressure with your front 4? And build a cloud around Mahomes and all those underneath routes? Because if I can drop 7 in coverage and still get pressure with my front 4, I'm going to be pretty good. Let them, again, 2nd in offense, but only 9th in scoring offense. That's kind of what a Fangio defense doesn't mind you getting 5 or 6 yards. They're going to make sure that you try and can you put together 10 plays without screwing up, a holding penalty, a turnover, anything like that. So pressure with the front 4, tackle, again, this sounds so simple, but it is. Limit the yards after the catch. So, if you're going to give up your yards, you got to stop them right there. You got to tackle right away. On offense, run the ball. Run the ball. You don't run it successfully the first time, stick with it. Run the ball. Again, 25 passes from Bridgewater, 45 touches between the two running backs. And again, limit the turnovers, and I think you got a chance.
Yeah, and I'm looking at some data here right now. You said definitely push the over on this game or not the under. And I don't know if you actually said that word.
No, I didn't pick one of those. I said that I don't. The over under is 50 or 57.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say right now, guys, I think you should pick the under because looking at this data right now, time of possession per drive. So what is the average time that each team possesses the football? This is a game where each team could have only
47. It's
47. I'm going to say pick the under. I think this is a game. Right now, just the data driven here. Chiefs, because they are a quick strike offense, a lot of times they can have more possessions, but the average time of possession per drive, Kansas City is number 2 in the NFL right now at 3 minutes and 10 seconds, where the Denver Broncos are number 4 in the NFL at 3 minutes and 7 seconds. So This is a game where both these teams are going to possess the football and it's going to be over before you know it. So that's really important. The other thing, and when you have a low possession game, like the Broncos and Chiefs are probably going to have in this one, given that data, you need to score 7 when you're in the red zone. You need to give up 3 when the other team gets in the red zone because these teams are going to move the football. That's the reality of it. So if you can get points, 4 extra points when you're in the red zone and convert down there, because you're not going to be down there probably very often given the possessions, and keep the Kansas City from scoring when they're down there, that can flip the game like that. You are 6 possessions or 3 possessions apiece in, and you are up 14-6. Boom, you're off running with how you want to play that game. So I would take the under on this one. I think it's going to be not a lot of possessions for each team, and you got to maximize in the red zone. And that's something the Broncos have not done. They're one of the worst red zone offenses in football this season.
I'm going to go 24-20 Chiefs, which would give the under, and they don't cover. I feel like if I look back at the Broncos schedule, I feel like the only one I've picked right lately is the Eagles game. I missed the Chargers. I missed the Cowboys. I picked to beat Denver or to beat Washington. The Browns, I'm pretty sure I called the Browns a loss. Not 100% sure on that. Picked a win against the Steelers, picked a win against the Raiders. So it's been a while. I'm about 500 like the Broncos over the last 4. But there's a reason the Chiefs are 10-point favorites. They're playing really good ball. They're at home. They're coming off a bye week. All of those things are in Kansas City's favor. What's in Denver's favor is what we talked about at the top of the show, is no one's expecting you to win. The pressure it's on. It's always on. This is the NFL. But this isn't a jump off the cliff game if you lose it. So I'm going 24-20 Chiefs.
Yeah. That's a good get. I'll probably have something similar, but I will probably wait until Friday to send that to Chad because I need to see if Dalton Reisner is playing. I want to see what's going on with the injury report today. I know that we have not been as enthused with Reisner's play this season, especially in the run game, except when he does pulls. I think he's a little bit better when you can do a little bit of traps and pulls in those kind of games. But Dalton Reisner is one of the probably top 20 pass blocking guards in football right now. And Netane Moody, while he's really good in the run game, gets
20 out of 32. 20 out of 64. That sounds better.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Talking left and right guard. So he's above average as a pass blocker. Maybe not the best at getting movement at the point of attack, but he was drafted to be more of a outside zone guard anyway. But Netane Moody and Quinn Miners, with how good they are in the run game, they are probably equally high variance and volatile in the pass protection game. And I think that if you have Chris Jones line up, 20, 25 pass snaps versus Netane Moody, you're in a world of hurt. I don't trust Moody's pass protection for anything because he hasn't shown any reason why you would trust that. So I would be willing to give up a little bit in the run game, even though that's your identity, putting in Reisner, because even let's say a run game, you're getting, 3 yards, a couple ones where Reisner's not holding the block as much. That's not going to kill you where a 10-yard sack or a strip sack is going to absolutely kill you. That's why some teams tend to lean, he's not as good of a run blocker, but he's not going to kill us in pass protection.
Yeah, the negative plays will absolutely kill you. And if you've got Muti in there, the way to avoid the negative plays is 4 yards of rush. third and 2
Yeah.
and get the guys on their heels a little bit, and you get them thinking, and they're not just firing off with their ears pinned back. Or you can run it right at them again, slip screens, or just olay them, let them go by and run right in the hole they vacate if they're gonna be one-dimensional on defense. We talk about one-dimensional on offense all the time, but if you've got a one-dimensional defense, they're not so hard to beat either. And again, the key to this Broncos team is success on first and second down. Don't talk to me about third down conversions when you're 3rd and 9. The third down conversions isn't the problem. 3rd and 9 is the problem. First and second down is the problem. So take care of first and second down, and third down will take care of itself.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the other one is the red zone. Obviously, the Broncos. Here's some other things. People get upset about Bridgewater and the Broncos passing the ball in the red zone. And part of it is limitations in Bridgewater's arm talent to fit it in holes that are obviously much more compressed in the red zone because you have the back of the end zone as an extra defender there. But the Broncos DVOA for pass offense in the red zone is 12th in the NFL. Their rush DVOA is 27th. Now, that a lot of that is probably schematic, saying teams are like, we know you want to run the ball, so we're going to take away the run, and as such, the data follows. But the Broncos have to execute in the red zone. Obviously, first and second down being consistent there, getting ahead of the sticks, and converting in red zone. I think those are the big ones here. And I think the Broncos have a good chance, too, to win the turnover battle in this one. What I will say, and we need this, the Broncos this year, they've been really good at interceptions. They are not punching the ball out. And with how much Kansas City likes to try to get yak after the catch, we need to see not the first guy, because I think it's more important for the first guy to make a sound tackle. But when you gang tackle, those next guys coming in there, fists to the football. You need to punch one of those guys out. Yes.
One guy hold him up, everybody else go for the ball.
Yep, exactly. And we just have not seen that this year from the Broncos defense. They are not turning over the ball with fumbles. I think they're 28th in the NFL in fumbles forced this season. So you got to get every single point you can. That's really important. DWI guys coming in here saying, sorry, Nick, I'm a big Michigan fan, so I'll be rooting for them to win, but we can both root for our Broncos on Sunday night. I'm just happy to be here with the Hawkeyes being in the Big Ten championship, right? Finishing 10-2 on the season's a great year. And then Wisconsin losing to Minnesota on a game that they probably shouldn't have. Just happy to be here. I will say that you talk about pressure for the Broncos versus the Chiefs. All the pressure is on Michigan, and I have much more confidence that Iowa will make it a close game and potentially beat Michigan than I do Denver, because I think Michigan maybe will have a little bit of a catharsis coming off of that big, huge win with Big Bad Brother beating Ohio State, and Iowa has nothing to lose, right? They are just happy to be there. They can play loose. I think Michigan's going to be a little bit more tight. Now, that said, Michigan at the point of attack with the edge rushers and how bad Iowa's tackles are, how statuesque the quarterback is, it's the same as the Broncos. If it's 3rd and long and Iowa's behind, good luck. Ojabo and Hutchinson is going to kill the Iowa pass game. But I think this one's a lot more high variance. In both these games, 10-point spreads. Who'd have thought, man? I'm really much a dog this weekend.
I don't ever apologize for who you're rooting for.
Yeah.
If you didn't have an opposition, who would you play against? I mean, I never got the idea of, when the other team takes the field, you boo them. I'm like, thank you for being here. We need somebody to play. We want to kick your butts, but we're glad you're here. You apologize after being an a-hole. That's when you apologize.
Yeah.
After that type of thing. Max coming in, more across the pond power. Afternoon, guys. Is it true that Fangio is safe if he wins versus Kansas City? No, that is not true. What is true, however, though, is if you can win in Kansas City, you can win out.
Yeah.
This is the toughest game left on the schedule.
By far.
Easily.
Yeah.
So if you can win this one, you can win out. Or even a 4-2. You go 4-2 and finish 10-7. I think he's coming back. So while not directly, if you win this one, you got a chance at 10-7 at worst. He's coming back. 11-6 is a pretty good chance. He's coming back.
Yeah.
So
and Shermer, both of them.
But if you win this one and then think you just won the Super Bowl and then drop the next 5, it doesn't matter. So, but what it means is you can win out. You can make a good run, and if you make a good run, why would you get rid of them? That doesn't make any sense. That's illogical. Feelings aside, that's illogical.
Yep. And point here I want to make before we get on out of here. This game this week, if the Broncos lose that, the season's not over. But I would say this is the last true hostile road game the Broncos have this season, which is pretty incredible. Now, the Broncos still have 3 more road games on the season, But looking at the schedule right now, you have Kansas, all of them AFC West rivals, but Kansas City on the road, the Raiders on the road, and the Chargers on the road. Has anybody seen First off, has anybody ever seen a Charger fan in real life at all? And B, anytime anybody goes to that SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, it's 60-40, 70-30 of opposition fans to Charger fans. And maybe that'll change the longer the Chargers are there. Although with Lincoln Riley and USC, I'm curious to see if maybe those NFL fans are those NFL teams are like, well, bleep.
The LA is such a transient city. There's 8 million people in LA. There's 500,000 fans of other teams.
Yep.
For each team, especially in the West.
Yep.
That they're always going to, trust me, I know this. This is how I grew up, with a bad team in Atlanta and all the Yankees moving down here and coming and rooting for their teams. Yeah. Not that I hold any grudges against that. It didn't bother me at all. But that's not going to change in LA. Unless it's not going to change. The Chargers aren't an LA team. And the Rams are close. USC. The Lakers are a true LA team, and the Dodgers are a true LA team. That's it. Maybe the Kings.
I would say the Trojans.
Not the Chargers.
Trojans as well. Everybody, I've talked to a few people in LA, and the football community in LA is a buzz about Lincoln Riley coming there. That's the football team of South California. It's not the NFL team. It's not an NFL place, but the Trojans, they love them. And with Lincoln Riley there, they are over the moon, and they should be. That's going to be great. The other one that is the Broncos' other road game is the Raiders. Now, obviously in Oakland, nobody was going to that stadium to travel versus Oakland because, you didn't want to have any altercations. It was known to be a little bit of a rough scene there at the Coliseum sometimes.
I went to a Falcons game in Oakland.
Okay. Maybe not an AFC West
I've kind of found that, I've been to games in Watts, Compton, Oakland. Yeah. I found for the most part, if you look for trouble, you'll find it.
Yep. That's true about a lot of things.
And if you, I wore a Chipper Jones jersey to a Dodgers game in the outfield, which is like where all the gang members sit, and they're razzing on me. I just wave and smile, and it's okay. So I've been to the black hole.
Yeah.
But, Las Vegas isn't going to be Oakland. That's for sure.
I know that the 49ers versus Oakland preseason games always ended with at least a couple people in the hospital. But that's, again, people looking for trouble. And also a lot of times some inebriated to some extent. Maybe that's gotten a little bit better since they legalized some other stuff. Maybe people are a little bit more calm and there's a smell of skunk in the stadium. Maybe that was true regardless. But the other one is the Raiders game in Oakland. Yeah, that was a tough place to play. No doubt. Even though it was Tarp Nation, those fans were hostile. But I think that this Las Vegas stadium, it's very much like Dallas, where it is a corporate environment and fans are traveling in there to go to that game. So, and the ones that I've seen with the Raiders, like the Kansas City game in Oakland, there were more Kansas City fans there than Raiders.
It's a destination.
Yes.
It's we just got our schedule. We're going to be playing in Las Vegas. Let's go see our team. It's a destination.
Yep, exactly. So this is the Broncos. I would say their last true road test. Then they have 2 home games and 2 away from home games, not really road games. So if the Broncos can win this one, everything is in front of them. They have I would say they are a favorite to make the playoffs. So it would be an upset at that point if they didn't make it to the playoffs with being, what would it be, 7-5 with 5 games to go. If they lose, though, it's not the end of the world. They still would have 5 games. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully it's a good game. Obviously I want them to win. But if they lose, I'll be okay. If they get absolutely whipped on primetime, I'm going to be very upset. And it's how they lose.
If you lose this one, it narrows your window because I think you're going to have to go 4-1 after that, to hit 10-7 and make the playoffs. I don't think 9-8 is probably going to do it. So if you lose this one, you're going to have to go 4-1. Can you? Versus Lions, Bengals, at Raiders, at Chargers, you can. But
the Chiefs
in this one, it means you can win out. Yep. That's the difference. And if you 10-7 is gonna keep Fangio in a job.
Yep, I totally agree with you there. It'll be a tough one to win this one. And maybe the Broncos can sneak in at 9-8, but the issue is the games that they've won have been NFC games. A lot of them, besides the Eagles, and the first tiebreaker for playoffs is your conference record. And the Broncos have lost 3 games versus the AFC North out of 4. And right now they are 1-1 versus the AFC West. They have beaten, luckily, the
Cincinnati's playing some good ball right now.
Yeah. Yep. Luckily they have.
That's a lot of orange. Denver and Cincinnati and Denver. That's a lot of orange.
Dude, I cannot wait Cannot wait. Must see TV. Jamar Chase versus Patrick Surtain. What a kind of like I haven't been that excited for a quarterback or a cornerback versus wide receiver matchup since Champ Bailey versus Terrell Owens back in like 2008 or whatever that was, or 2010. So appreciate you guys. We got to get on out of here. Obviously, you guys can follow Scott and myself on Twitter. Scott is at Scout Kennedy, and I am at Nick Kendall MHH. Also, make sure you're following us at Huddle Up Podcast and at Mile High Huddle. If you guys are joining us on Facebook or you have a Facebook at all, I know a lot of people are ditching that, but if you're out there, make sure you're joining us at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle and facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod. If you guys are on iTunes, make sure you are listening after the fact on iTunes. Please give us a rating, leave a 5-star, and say, hey, I love the morning show. It's my favorite with coffee. I listen to it on the way to work, or I listen to my Broncos for breakfast. I like breakfast for dinner. I listen to it at night. Just let us know. Go ahead.
1 second on this one, because JCBYO, if you are listening, you got pulled last night for the Apple 5-star podcast drawing, and you mentioned us too, which makes me think that you're a breakfast, Broncos for breakfast guy. So if you are, thank you. And if you didn't see that you won something, make sure you hit us up. If you didn't see it last night, hit us up at milehighhuddle@gmail.com, because you won the Apple podcast drawing last night. So appreciate you.
Man, I absolutely love that. And we've been getting some reviews here pretty recently. Man, this is awesome. Love you guys for that. Maybe we'll have to read some of these at some point. Yeah, I see Nick and Scott sent me, and all I got was this podcast rating.
That was the winner.
So
that was the winner.
Keep up the quality conversations that y'all have on every pod. Thankful to have this awesome community. We're thankful to have you. Thank you guys so much. Also, make sure you're following us on YouTube by subscribing, liking, and sharing, and doing the same for Scott's channel over at youtube.com/C/Scott Kennedy. Man, I'm so hyped to see Scott and Nick in there in the iTunes reviews, because it's dominated by Chad and Zach. And I don't want to make this all about me, but come on, guys. No, it's inversed. It's super hard. We appreciate the heck out of you guys. Thank you for everybody who joined us today and contributed to the chat. It's going to be a great game Sunday night. Hopefully Scott and I will be joining you guys with a good vibes Monday morning for the next Broncos for breakfast, but we'll see. Either way, we're going to be here to break it down and hang out with you guys and work through it together. Everyone stay safe. Have a great weekend. I will see you Saturday night, and go Broncos.